Hello everyone, welcome to Big Talk here on Global Television. And lots already has been said about Nigeria's democracy. But for 25 years of practicing democracy from 99, unbroken, consistently having a democracy in the country, we're going to look at tonight on the program how far we've been able to go. What has been, looking at the judiciary, because democracy is to work when the judiciary system is strong. We'll be assessing the level of justice delivery, the rule of law in the country, and all of those institutional issues that we have been actually having in Nigeria so far for 25 years of practicing democracy. How was the military regime? What is better now? What is the future of the country? What have we been able to achieve at the end of the 25 years? On the program tonight, we'll be looking at that as we get prepared to mark a celebration just as the federal government have declared tomorrow's public holiday, giving respect to the fact that 12th of June is set aside for Nigeria to celebrate democracy. And for tomorrow's own, it is very unique because it is 25 years of unbroken democracy in the country. We'll go on a quick break, and once we return, I'll be speaking with my guest who is already live here on the program to discuss the issues of democracy and Nigeria. Stay with us.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point. This is business.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow
Many thanks for still staying with us. My guest tonight is a senior citizen of this country and a senior advocate of Nigeria, Dr. Samson Ame, who, of course, he has been in the legal practice for so many years, and one who has served as the Commissioner of Justice and Attorney General of Kogi State. He's live here on the program to discuss Nigeria's democracy. Good to have you join us on the program, Doctor.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for honoring us. All right. You are a senior citizen of this country. You've seen Nigeria before democracy. What can you really say, proud to this time, where we were and where we are today?
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, where we were, we were a country carved out by the British. And we were really privileged that we have stayed together. Not that we decided to come together and stay together. Though we were carved out by force, yet we did not break up. Rather, we built on what we have, and we continue to be a country for so many years, before and after independence. It's not an easy thing, but we should praise our leadership, because it seems that the leaders of Nigeria, their priority is the unity of the country, keeping the country together, holding the country together. That is their priority, and they should be praised for that. because united we stand, divided we fall. It's good that we are together as a country.
I mean, a lot of concern to you when you look at the judiciary system. It was meant to be the last hope of a common man. A common man was meant to run to court to seek justice. To you, can you really give, what can you really say about the current state of justice? Because recently in Kano State, over the emirship, there have been conflicting court orders. But I mean, we'll go on a quick break right now, and once we return, we'll be discussing more on that issue. Do stay with us.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight,
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on global television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first.
Are you a food lover? Do you care about your health and nutrition? Are you interested in exploring the diverse culinary traditions from around the world?
Well, of course, I'm still speaking with the Senior Advocate of Nigeria and the former Attorney General of Kogi State. Doctor, let's take a look at the judiciary system. Because in democracy, judiciary plays a lot of role in getting, things works well in the country, because it's to be the last hope of a common man. What can you really, as your assessment, what can you really say? After 25 years, have we gotten it right in the judiciary?
Oh yes, as the saying goes, the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. And the Nigerian judiciary has really done very, very well. Because if you take the country, there are three arms of government. The legislative arm, the executive arm, and the judicial arm of government. The legislative arm of government, they do whatever they like. When there are elections, they carry ballot boxes, they run into the bush, they declare false results, they disappear and appear whenever they want. That is the behavior at the legislative arm of government. Even the executive arm, sometimes they exercise their powers, break into the Justice Odili's house, they can do anything. And when anything goes wrong, they all run to the judiciary. So it is the judiciary that has been more or less regular, normal in Nigeria. In fact, it is true that the judiciary is the basis of democracy, because the Constitution is the basis of democracy, and is the judiciary that protects the Constitution.
I mean, when you look at all of these issues that comes to the court, because as you said, legislators will come to the court, the executive will run to the court. So the judiciary always at the receiving end of all of these things. If we look at recently in Kano State, there have been issues of conflicting court orders, and all of that. How do we begin to marry the fact that there must be an independence of this arm? I mean, the principle of checks and balances has to be there for the executive to operate under the tenet of the law provided, and for the lawmakers to understand their own role, so that when the three can independently work together, they can be able to check. Because what we see now is the fact that the executive marries the legislative arms. So sometimes the judiciary is alone, and the both arms get to have a lot of pressure on the judiciary. What do you think, from your own experience, can be done to disengage all of these arms of government to work separate independently?
Well, they say the best teacher is experience. Because to be fair to the third world, the African countries, democracy is a Western world idea which has been brought to us, and we have adopted democracy. Well, we originally have traditional system of government, emirship, chieftaincy, Oba. So, as a result of that, we have our own system of governance in the past. But the Western world came, and then they brought democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So, and to get to that democracy, you need to conduct elections. People have to select the people whom they want to represent them. Then we started practicing the democracy ourselves, and we are new in the Western, in Africa. We have so much developed it, and we have tried our best to adopt it to suit our purpose. We are not perfect. I'm not saying that we are perfect, but I think gradually we are improving more than before.
So what can you really say about the traditional practice prior to democracy? Was that practice helping unify the country, or democracy, had a broader perspective in getting the unification of Nigerians? I mean, the emirship, the Oba, and all of that. What is your assessment of that practice before the democracy?
Well, before the democracy, we have different kingdoms, chieftaincies, different areas. Like the Sultan of Sokoto, it's not only the good thing about our traditional system is that our traditional rulers are not only temporary rulers, but they are also spiritual rulers. So, like the Sultan of Sokoto is the Seriki Muslimi, the leader of the Muslims, so it's also answerable to God. And that is what made our traditional system to work very well. Because apart from worldly powers, the leaders were answerable to God, to
their creator.
Creature. So as a result of that, the best. They try to combine responsibility to humanity and responsibility to God. Therefore, they do their very best. In fact, when democracy came, and it's not combine it with any religion, people will still grab ballot box and run away because they thought they are not answerable to God. But the good thing about our traditional system is that it's not just this world, but it's also the world beyond.
Right, very excellent there. I mean, when you look at recently, the political class, politicians themselves, they have made ridicule of democracy. Most of the time during election time, you see what happened during elections, and it's becoming every year and year. And sometimes, for us to get better in democracy, we have to get our elections right. What is your assessment of Nigeria's election over time? You've seen recently that even INEC sometimes are handicapped on what to do, because the politicians of the political parties and the leaders of the political parties are the frontiers of the many issues that we have been facing in electoral issue. And if we do not get elections right, the last election sometimes has put Nigerians under the point where they might not believe in other elections again in the country. So what is your assessment of Nigeria's election, and what do you think are the things that must be addressed so that moving forward after 25 years of democracy, we must pay attention to those things?
Oh, yes. Actually, to be fair, democracy is strange to us. It's a foreign idea which we have adopted. And most of our people don't even believe in democracy. So as a result of that, they try to do whatever they want to win election without going through the due process. But I see it as a learning process. And the more the public themselves are educated, the more they are westernized, the more that they know what they are doing, then our democracy will improve. But if it's a system where somebody will just share money and then carry the vote and carry the box and go away without the people having any say in what he got, that system will gradually, hopefully, will subside. And the correct system, as our people get more educated, is now universal basic education. As they get more educated, as they know more of their rights, as there's communication, there's improvement in communication. Communication is very, very important. And so once there's this education and improvement in communication, the democracy will thrive. In fact, in the past, somebody was campaigning. He went to the village, he said, the minister in the other party is sitting on your file. So the villagers thought that, oh, okay, so that's why our road has not been constructed. So the minister took the file and sat on it. You know, once we are able to get out of that type of idea and know what is really happening, then our democracy will improve.
A lot of concern for us to get democracy working. It's been 25 years of practice, and most of the times we get to push blame, but we do not know where to directly have the blame on. What are the roles that both the citizens must play, both the executive must play, the legislative and the judiciary? But we are focusing on how we can be able to assess so far the rule of law and justice delivery so far in 25 years of democracy in the country. But for now, we'll go on a quick break, and once we return, we'll give a spotlight on that issue. I'll be right back. To stay with us. Many times for still staying with us on the program Big Talk. And of course, we're taking a look at Nigeria's democracy. And I'm having a senior advocate of Nigeria right here on the program to express some of these issues and what we can be able to do out of 25 years of justice delivery and the rule of law. Doctor, one unique thing about the fact that Nigeria we had embraced democracy. We saw it to be that it's working in other developed countries. So for us to emulate, for us to accept it, it therefore means that we are ready to do the work for it to get better. You know, from 1999, we've had an unbroken, practice of democracy. And most oftentimes, many persons are arguing that, leaders are not showing example. They're not leading by example. When you look at awareness, sometimes the followers get to see what leaders are doing. And after 5 years, 10 years, those followers become leaders. And they sometimes want to replicate what they saw their leader doing. Take your mind back to when you were commissioner, when you were in the State Executive Council. Those who were followers then are probably now leaders of the system. What do you feel is the issue? Is it the issue, the fact that, it seems corruption have eaten deep into our practices. So every time people just want to go into those offices to get money and go home away. It's an issue to us, Prof.
Mm. Oh, yes. Well, first and foremost, democracy is a foreign concept. And the problem we have is how we leave our own tradition to adopt the foreign concept. And that is why when people get into power, they don't want to leave, because they look at it like a traditional title, which is permanent. The Oba of Benin is there, the Obi of Onitsha, the Sultan of Sokoto, they don't change. So our politicians still have come from that background, so that when they get into a position, they would want to continue staying there permanently. I want to commend President Goodluck Jonathan. When they contested the election and he lost the election, he did not contest the loss. He just peacefully surrendered the government to the winner of the election. If he had contested, perhaps we would have been in crisis up till now. The Niger Delta militants would have come out in his favor, and the people from the north, they would have also supported Buhari, and then you would have had a serious crisis in this country, which we may not be able to survive. But we thank President Jonathan for his humbleness. He's very humble.
So you feel leaders should be able to emulate that kind of example? Because most of the time, it is a do-or-die affair for some leaders.
Yes.
In some state governments, you see how elections are being fought for and all of that, and sometimes he's not showing good example.
Yes. That is correct. As I said, it's because of our background that we take political offices like traditional offices. Traditional offices are permanent. The Sultan of Sokoto is permanent. The Oba of Benin is permanent. But political offices are not supposed to be permanent. That concept, if we can break with our own past, because our own tradition is to have it permanent. In fact, Idi Amin of Uganda once said that in Africa, the government does not change unless heads roll. So you have to force the person out. So the person there will want to be there permanently. So Idi Amin say, if government changes in Africa, heads will roll. That is our concept. But I think with time and with education and with development in self-service, in employment, perhaps we will change and begin to accept political change. Because the problem I have with politicians in the third world, in Nigeria and Africa, is that most of these politicians don't have a primary assignment, a primary office, or a primary profession to do. Politics seems to be their job. So if they are not in politics, they have nothing to do. In the United States, a former minister of law, legal minister, Attorney General and Minister of Justice in the United States. The minister resigned. He said he wants to go back to his law office and continue his practice. In Africa, in Nigeria, most people in offices like that, if they leave the office, they have nowhere to go. So they want to be there as they have no option than to stay there permanent, because if they live there, they are nobody again.
A lot of concern.
Yes.
I mean, finally, as we begin to wrap up, how do you feel that office of the CJN is so much powerful? Because recently, people said that the powers of the CJN is quite enormous. To you, do you feel that responsibility or power that he has to sit at the Supreme Court and to dispense justice is much powerful to him, or this how it can be, reduced so as to have, some level of sanity in the system? Because they have also alleged that there is corruptions, among judges.
Oh yes, yes. Judges are also Nigerians. They are not manufactured from outside. They are not brought from. They are Nigerians, and so if the Nigerians are corrupt, I will not be surprised that some judges will be corrupt. But to be fair to the judiciary, the majority of the judges are not corrupt. But one or two of them, if they are corrupt, they tend to tarnish the whole image of the judiciary. But the Nigeria judiciary, by and large, is not corrupt. They are doing very well. And to show that they are doing very well, they are not only in Nigeria, they assist other countries like Zambia and other countries where Nigerian judges have gone to be the judges and then to develop the judiciary in other places. But the judges should be, the powers they have is very important. They should have such powers, because at the end of the day, it is the judiciary that determines everything. Even our democracy, I call it judicial democracy, because when people go for election, there will be cases upon cases.
Tribunal cases.
Tribunal cases, and it's the one that the judges and the judiciary decides that ultimately sits there. Otherwise, the others will not accept one another, but the judiciary finally decides who should be in the political office.
Sometimes Nigerians say that the decisions sometimes are not always the will of the people, because sometimes you see someone win the election on ground but runs to court and lose the election, probably due to technicalities and all of that. So sometimes Nigerians feel that the court sometimes gives room for politicians who does not have the capacity to win election on ground to run to court to emerge winner, which is a problem. It loses confidence of democracy.
Yes, my advice is that the judiciary is not what you read in the papers. It is what actually happens within the four walls of the court. Somebody may have a good case. It's one thing to have a good case. It's one thing to present the case well. So you need also a good lawyer. If you have a good case and the case is not well presented, you will still lose the case, because it is what happens in the court that matters. It's not what happens outside the court. Therefore, having a good case is one thing, presenting a good case in court is another thing. And it's what the judges hear in court that they decide upon.
All right, so what's the last message as Nigerians get to celebrate 25 years of democracy? What is your message to the government? What is the message to the people of Nigeria as we round up on the program?
Yes, my message to the government, first and foremost, is that they should be responsible to the people who voted them in. It's not them as their own job. It is they are the representative of the people, and they should be answerable to the people. Then I also tell the Nigerians, the man on the street, the common man, the voters, that they should vote according to their conscience. That the time of sharing 5,000 naira on the day of election, let that time be passed. The people should expect issues that are presented to them. This, if you are voted in, this is what I'm going to do. Voting should be based on issues and not on the sharing of money. That's my advice.
Voting, of course, on democracy must be based on the issues. It must deal with the issues and not with what immediate economic gains you may be able to have.
Right.
These are the words of Dr. Samson Ahmed, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and former Attorney General of Kogi State, who joins us to discuss Nigeria's democracy. 25 years of unbroken democracy. What next for Nigeria is to get better, just as the final words and message from Dr. Ahmed. Thanks for joining us on the program tonight. We really appreciate your time and your conversation.
Thank you for the privilege to be here with you.
Thank you so much.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right.
And that's where we'll wrap it up here on the program. And of course, looking forward to see you tomorrow. And of course, we'll be bringing a democracy special, of course, on Global Morning tomorrow, where you'll be taking a look at dissecting issues of democracy and Nigeria's practice of 25 years in the country. My name is Edikan Michael. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
Amen.